Okay.
And it's my belief that we're live. Yes, we are. Okay. I just have to comment real quick on the live. All right. And it's going to be great.
Yes.
The whole thing is going to be great. Thank you so much, because Ada is a live one. You know, she already bought me my favorite thing in the whole wide world to eat.
And what was that?
You don't know what my favorite thing in the whole wide world to eat is?
I'm not a real friend like that.
Wow, that escalated.
Oh, okay. I want to say spaghetti with a slice of pizza. I mean, with a slice of cheese.
The square cheese.
Huh? Right, with a slice of
cheese.
yellow cheese. With a square yellow cheese.
Yeah.
With a slice of cheese.
Right.
Or a piece of fried chicken. I mean.
It is a piece of fried chicken.
Pick your poison.
Oh my God, I can't stand it here. I hate it here already. So welcome everybody to episode number 10. I cannot believe I've been doing this for 10 fucking days. And I could be on in a space to say fuck and just feel comfortable with the person that's on the phone. So if it's all right with you, Crystal, we're going to get started here. I'm going to post your Cash App because people want to pay you basically to tell them all the things that you can't stand about me. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a fabulous show, actually. I'm actually pinning your Cash App to the very top so when people join, they can see. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You didn't even think I was going to invite you.
It.
Wow, that escalated quickly. Did you think that I was going to invite you to the podcast?
I didn't understand why, really, because you had all these amazing educated people, and my poor grammar, illiterate ass, I felt like I'm out of my league, but I'm really appreciative you invited me, and it feels
You're so beautiful. Oh my God, why are you my friend?
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Okay, all right. I had anxiety about this.
Once we get past our anxiety,
like we're a little nutty, okay? And I don't
our
think
vulnerability
understand that.
Right, and our vulnerability in the strong topic that's about to go down.
Oh, there's about to be some strong topics. Okay, let me turn on my volume. Okay, all right. So I just want to tell everybody a little bit about you. I put it in the description. Also, I think it's important to make sure folks know who it is I'm sitting with today. So Crystal Beck is also affectionately and professionally known as Navah da Buddaphliii. Crystal is a founding member of the Society of Urban Poetry, or also better known as SOUP. Crystal is a native of the South End of Boston, a mother of 5 badass kids, and a hood shaman. Navah is also published and a spoken word performing artist for more than 20 years. Can you tell that this woman is more than 20 years old? It's wild. Soup was recently honored by the Boston City Council for our work in the Boston arts community. And I want to talk about your CD, because you released your first CD entitled Far From Your Reality. I want to talk about how that has sort of set the basis for our friendship. So can you tell me why you got started with spoken word? Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it music or poetry first?
Music actually came first. I went to the Roland Haynes Division of Music at Madison Park High, where I took bass guitar and drums and chorus. And so I hooked up with like different musicians, but then I was around some amazing writers.
Okay.
And I was always kind of like envious of the writing. And I grew up with like a very poor education. Like I graduated high school at a 4th grade level.
Okay.
It was pretty fucked up.
Why do you think that they let you pass high school with a 4th grade level of reading?
Well, I grew up in the 70s. Like, I grew up around like pimps and prostitutes. And so the school system really did not cater to Black people like that. it was like, get them in and get them out. And if you, whichever way you can go to summer school, get your few little marks that's going to get you to the next grade. So I just they kept pushing me. I go to summer school every
They were
year.
pushing you through because they didn't really want to address the fact that you may not have been learning as well as some of the other kids, you know?
Like, yeah, I was in the chapter 1 classes.
I'm so happy you're telling this story because you know my baby in these chapter 1 classes too.
Yes, they did diagnose me with disrealization, dispersonalization. It's when you're not connected to the world or to yourself. And the thing about, like, from 5 years old, I was running around, very weird child, talking about the world is fake, the world's not real. And at 5 years old, that's the only language that I had. I didn't know about a holographic reality, And then as I got older, they come out, the holographic reality we live in. I'm like, I've been saying that, So I just kind of looked at the world in a very abstract way. And the whole school system just wasn't for me. I think people have different styles of learning. And I'm more of a visual learner.
Okay.
I have to see it more than hear it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for explaining that to me, because now this to me, I never knew this about you. And we've been friends for an extremely long time. When I'm in the car with you and you're driving and you're like, which way do I go? And I say left and you take a right, it really annoys my entire soul. And I have to remind myself, I'm like, Crystal, I don't know if you was on crystals at some point. I don't know what happened, but I would, and you would be like, no, you have to point it out to me. Whereas most of my friends, if you point out, because I'm a pointer, I'm like, go that way. They're like, what are you doing? Tell me left or right. But you're like, no. This is my left. And this is my right. So, and I used to hate that shit about you. I'm like, what is wrong with this girl? But I'm glad that you explained it.
Well, I'm not sure if it happened in the womb or if it happened during being nurtured. So, like I said, in the 70s, your parents were allowed to bring you to the bar. So there was a place called Paul's in the Square. It was in Common Square.
Common Square.
Yes. And there was ping pong machines. And I was 5 years old in the bar to 2 a.m. with adults,
Right.
And they would give me my little ginger ale to drink. But sometimes they be so drunk, I'd be grabbing their damn drinks at 5 years old. So I would be getting drunk at 5 years old in Paul's.
Right.
And we'll go home. It'd be 2 a.m. and I wouldn't be able to go to school the next day because everybody's drunk and asleep.
Right.
So I missed a lot of school. And
I like how you said you wasn't sure if it was in the womb or if it was nurturing, because we both kind of share the similar, even meeting each other later in life, we kind of have a relationship where you're like, oh, that's your wound too. That's where it hurts for you too.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Exactly. So I never got the grasp of learning my left from my right.
Okay.
I never learned how to tell time, on a face clock. Digital, yes, but so I have a scar in my hand, and
yes, you do.
I do this when I'm driving so I can find out if I'm turning. If you say left or right, I usually put my hands up and do this. I'm like, okay, I can turn this way. But if I don't bring my hands up, I end up taking the wrong turn, which you get annoyed with. And
when I first met you, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. A left turn broke us up, and so I just want to say, I'm really happy to be sitting with you because I can't count on my hands, fingers, and toes how many times you and I have been engrossed in some deep conversation, and we sitting here talking to one another, and you're like, let's go live right now. And then we never did. And then Facebook took away that feature. So I was like, come on, Crystal, let's make it happen, Captain. So I want to ask you, out of the list of topics that you and I, because when people come onto the show, me and the guests, we make the show together. I'm not sitting here interviewing you. I'm not about to grill you. We about to have a lot of fun. You're my best friend. You were literally my day 15, and you still ride it out here with me. You know what I'm saying? As if you was a day one. Mm-hmm. And so I want to talk about all the things, but I'm gonna defer to you because that's what I like to do. I like to defer to people. What you want to talk about first?
Damn, you really put me on the spot.
You
Let's
can
get
do
into something
it.
kind of light.
Okay, you want to talk about
Let's get
something
into something kind of light. We'll talk about, the hood doctor stuff.
Okay, so ma'am, you and several people that know you describe you as a hood shaman. Can you explain to the folks what the fuck is a hood shaman? We know what a shaman is, but what is a hood shaman?
Well, I was always fascinated by medicine. I would have loved been a doctor. And I just kind of had this natural act for what people should do. So I'm gonna take it to my cousin. Melissa, she's a transgender woman, and she finally got her boobs done.
Right.
And she didn't have much money to get that done, so the city paid for it,
Right.
And after they did it, she calls me up and she's like, oh my God, they want to take my boobs out. And I'm like, you have a staph infection? So like I said, once again, things just like click in my brain where I don't know my left from my right, but as people talk, I can kind of tell what's like physically wrong with them. So I was like, you have a staph infection? She was like, yeah, they said I have a staph infection and they have to remove my boobs. I said, did they start you on treatment with antibiotics? And she said, yeah. And one thing about people, we have this internal compass. When we know something is wrong with us and not wrong with us, in her heart of hearts, she knew that those shouldn't be removed.
That her breast shouldn't be removed. Right. But that's what the doctor was recommending.
Yeah, so she checked in with me. And I said, you're on treatment, stay on treatment, don't let them touch you. So her appointment came up to have them remove them, because I said what they do, they have new doctors that they're hiring all the time, and they need someone to practice. They need someone to put the boobs in. Now, if an infection does happen, we need to learn how to remove the boobs, and they take chances with Black trans people. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying that medical professionals take chances on Black trans folks? What?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And so
right before my very eyes.
I said, keep your boobs, continue your medication. And so she had to go to her appointment, and they was like, you need to come in. We have to remove you. We have to remove them, She said, my cousin is a doctor. She said no. And I was like, they wanted my name. I'm not a doctor, you know what I'm saying? I'm a hood doctor. So They wanted my name and shit. I was so nervous because I'm giving medical advice. I know that she's going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? She knows she's going to be okay. And she's okay. She got her boobs today. Alhamdulillah. She's all good.
I've seen Melissa's boobs. Melissa's boobs is better than my boobs. I got 2 lumps on the top of my boobs. And Melissa's like, bang.
They did a great job. They did
an amazing job on her tits.
I play with them all the time.
I can't fucking stand you. But I have often come to you too. My pregnancy feels like this, or am I losing the baby because I haven't felt nothing kid? And I just remember you've always been the source of multiple people coming to you and telling you all their personal sexual history and business so you can diagnose them. And I think that that's an important art that has been lost. I think about women who are homeopaths, some gender nonconforming folks too. I think about the folks who have been taking care of each other for centuries,
Mm-hmm,
I wonder why you get such a bad rap.
Yeah, I mean, because there's stuff in the home, everyday products that you can use to treat yourself, especially now during this whole coronavirus shit.
You and Nikki G got me buying all the things. I'm so mad at y'all.
Yeah, and especially with personal female hygiene. You get your little infections here and there. Baking soda is very good.
Baking soda?
Baking soda is very good for the vagina. Baking soda is very good for the vagina.
You need a prescription for baking soda?
No, you don't. You just get it right from the store. Also, it's kind of heavy, and it hurts, but it's really good, and it will not harm you. Hand sanitizer on the vagina.
Why are we're not putting hand sanitizer on our vaginas? I'm sorry, I'm not doing that.
I'm telling you. I know you don't have to, but if push comes to shove and you just I don't know what to do with myself, that works.
To reset the pH balance?
Yes.
This is dangerous.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
So you have 5 children. Can you tell me about
Yes.
that? I have a friend, you know Tanya very well, you know. Tanya is going through something where the New York Times wrote about her, and of course, all the trolls and their mamas are inside of the comment section talking about her choice and the fact that she has multiple, you know, children and multiple baby daddies or whatever. Like, what does that look like? You know, I will not be utilizing my same child's father. Should I? Sorry, Matt. Should I choose to have another baby? So what does that look like for women who are like, okay, I'm making these choices with my body? Like, why do you think that people hate on y'all so much? I say us because I'm about to.
Well, you have to understand. You have to understand being in this world of duality and having a human experience. We're spiritual beings, you know what I'm saying? That's something that we forget about. And I also think that there's karma and there's generational curses that comes along with this. Because, you know, I've talked to you before about generational curses. In my family, my grandmother had 5 baby daddies and 8 children. My aunts, 3, 4 baby daddies. Like, when you become accustomed to seeing something, it becomes the norm. You know, for us, it's the norm. It's society that puts the stigma on it, but it's up to us not to allow it.
Right.
Okay, relationships aren't easy. And we forget that we're spiritual beings. We're gonna come in this world the way we come into this world. Not everybody gonna come in here on a cookie cutter sheet, like this is how it's supposed to be. Because to be honest with you, if you think about it, the duality of that, a lot of women that are married, perfect homes and got the husband, all of them in the fertility clinic trying to get pregnant. And then you have people like myself and other people. I am 47 years old. My youngest child is born.
Not cracked. Every time somebody tells me the age, I'm like, where?
The second youngest is 2.
Okay.
You know, so there was no fertility treatment done. I'm old as shit getting pregnant. So what I say about that is we are spiritual beings. And that's the way they come in through. That's the way they come in through. I tell my kids all the time, you chose me, I chose you.
Right. So let me ask you a question about when you said that like we as femmes or women, we are experiencing a generational curse, and then you said it's our responsibility to break the cycle. What responsibility? Because I feel like you've grown on this.
Not the cycle, you know, stigma. The stigma.
Okay, like, I apologize. I don't want to misquote you.
Don't let them baby mama shame us, is what I'm saying.
Because whose fault is it that we are baby mom? Is it our fault?
There's a whole spiritual side to this that society don't teach you about a whole spiritual side to this. You know, and then as Black people, we have been conditioned to detach from one another, from slavery. You got to remember that. The slave women would have their children one day, and they would take the mom away, give the kid a piece of candy to kind of calm them down, because, you know, and they never saw their mother again. This went on for generations. Trauma, generations, more trauma.
Right.
So, and that woman went to another plantation. What do you think happened there? When she done left those kids. Now she's at another plantation. What do you think is going on there? She having more babies.
Mm-hmm. So you feel like it's now you feel like it's. So now it's like this whole family, and then they're like we're closed off.
There's always been multiple baby daddies, all the time, especially among Black women. We was having master's baby. We was having our play husband baby all the time.
You're saying because folks were separated from their actual families, that then they had to create makeshift families, and that's not really their partner that they want to be with. It's just
they were forced. They were forced to create more babies. They were forced to have these multiple baby daddies. You know, Sally will be breeding better with Jethro. Sell her to my plantation. And you know the ancestors talk to me. Anybody that know me, know the ancestors be talking to me.
So talk to me about there's a poem that you wrote when I first met you. I met you in 2014. I don't know if you remember the first time we met, but I met you and you performed this poem, and I was just like, who is this person? Like, I love this poem, you know? And it was the slave piece. And can you tell us about what inspired you to write that piece? What is the title of the poem? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the title is called Once Upon a Past.
Once Upon a Past, okay.
And Once Upon a Past. And what happened was I moved into a new apartment in the South End. I've lived in the South End for over 20 something years, but I was moving to a different apartment.
The South End used to be Roxbury, but gentrification changed it, and now it's the South End of Boston instead of Roxbury. Exactly. But you live in a very white neighborhood, so go ahead, talk about it.
Now I do. So when I moved in, they brought me down to the basement, and they said, you can go to this part. This is a storage room for you. This is the laundry, you know. They said, you can't go past this point because this is a part of the Underground Railroad. And I was like, wow. And it was like, you want to go in for one time to look at it. So I walked in, and I don't know what came over me, but I felt something like move my spirit.
Right.
And I said, damn. Just sitting in that space, it was heavy. So I went upstairs, and you know, if anybody knows me, my writing style is not like that. And then when I went upstairs,
you're very like abstract, and it takes you a while to write a poem out. But you're saying that this shit hit you, and you was like, gotta go write about it.
And it just flowed through me. And I've never written a character piece. Like I went from different characters in the poem. I was the mama. Mm-hmm. I was the sister talking. I was, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like that's definitely some ancestors' story that need to get out.
And then do you think anything is, not just at the Underground Rail, there was a passageway in your apartment that you moved into, but that Harriet Tubman now has a statue, like not even a block and a half away from you. And also the Harriet Tubman house is right across the street from you, literally at the corner of your street. Sorry, I don't want anyone to geotag you, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I think about that, and just like that piece, you said, I don't want to misquote it. You said, and people don't think that trees speak, but oh, they do. And you say it like this, like the way that you perform it as a slave narrative. And so you really get into character, and I've seen you slam this poem and like beast on anybody. And I'm like, the white people love this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, it has made me cry on several occasions. It doesn't matter how many times I've heard this poem. I do feel like someone's spirit is speaking through you. And I just want to say that I think you're a writer that is extremely out of this world and beyond this time, like, you know, to be able to convey the stories that you do. And so I really dislike sometimes, I mean, I know you have to acknowledge like your history and where you come from, but I dislike that you're like, oh, you know, well, I'm not really educated, because the stories that you tell are just, I feel like you're one of the smartest people I know, you know, so I think we should like really look at what it means to be educated. You're one of the smartest people I know. Hands down.
I thank you. And I thank so many others. Like, I've been around some amazing beings. Like, all of y'all are just, it's just like your knowledge. You all are educated, and I just like absorb whatever you guys have to offer. I think that's what I mostly do. But like, I've been around some smart ass motherfuckers. I just, you know, you do that language in here.
Did your aunt just yell at you on my live? Auntie Pat.
I'm sorry, Auntie. Life gets real, don't it?
Real quick.
Go ahead. Real quick. I'm 48 years old, but I can't say no swings over here, okay?
I don't know if you remember this person, but Abdi Muhammad Warsam said hi, Crystal, he loves you. Do you remember him?
Yes, I do. I love you too. Thank you so much for reaching out and saying hi.
Yes, people love you. What is wrong with you? First time we met, what was your impression of me?
Oh my God. I've come around many beings on this planet, reptilians, you name it. You name it. I've come around it. When I met Didi Delgado, and she came up to me and she was like, hey, we're gonna be best friends. And she just started saying all this stuff. And then Matt walks up and he looks at me. I said, hey, why you been hiding her? I said, what, as a matter of fact, what the hell is this? I've never seen this type of being in my life, you know? And so, and I'm not gonna go into Matthew, but I think like he was a little scared to bring you out because he did not know what effect you would really have in this world.
You're gonna make me cry.
And I said, she cannot stay hidden. I said, I know she needs to kind of be guided a little bit and shaped, but you're also your own person. So it's hard to do that to somebody, you know what I'm saying? But you had all this brilliance, but you also had all this radical fire that came with it that most people are afraid of. But yeah, I told you, I said,
sorry, go ahead.
And I told you, I said, I don't know if I'm the best person for you to be around because I'm not like that. And so he was like, I'm just gonna take my chances.
My cousin was like, and I was like, you're not even really my cousin because I just met you. Like, that's my friend.
But I wanted to be transparent with you when you met me because, people resonate in their egos a lot when it comes to people they don't understand. Right. And that's why I always try to teach you that when you come across these people, they dealing with their own traumas, their own ego, and their own shit at the end of the day. You're not perfect, but it's not up to them to judge you or try to fix how they think you should be perfect. But you can go on and ask me the hard questions if you want, because then people, if they want to ask them damn hard questions and they got issues.
I feel like the comment section is open. If people want to ask you questions, I'm just going to read. I'm going to be humble. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to read the question as it is.
And we can do this as a collective. People got issues with you, everybody. You know what I'm saying? We can do this as a collective and work this out right now. Get the hammer, the screwdriver, and you're on live. You cannot be doing this.
I'm having anxiety all over again. It's happening. It's happening.
And guess what anxiety? Guess who has anxiety? The ego. The ego has anxiety, not the true self. The ego has anxiety because there's parts of it does not want to face and deal with.
April Parker said, I feel like I'm about to get saved right now.
I got the candles burning. We're going to do it.
So when you discuss ego, these are just questions that I have. You and I just talked about we talked about the 8 topics we're going to talk about. I just want to name them so people know where we're going with this. We talked about, we're going to speak on boundaries, ego, criticism, our childbirth experiences, and especially mine. We're going to talk about conflict. We're going to talk about relationships, both platonic and romantic. We're going to talk about our current emotional health. And then I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you, what's the one thing about me you can't stand? So let's start with ego. So when you say that people are dealing with ego, but then in the same breath, when I said I'm having anxiety about this conversation because you just provided an open invitation for people to just tell us what their problem is with me, I said I am having anxiety, and you said that's my ego. So what is ego to you?
Mm-hmm. Ego is when you're resonating with the parts of you that either wants control, doesn't want to be embarrassed, and wants full power. Remember that time? Ego. Yeah, we all got egos. We all got it. It's matter if you want to resonate with it or not. You have a choice.
Okay.
Now, remember that time we had an argument? We can get to the juicy stuff. Remember that time we had an argument and
we had an
one
argument?
time Dee, because we had an argument.
Tell the story. I'll be quiet.
Right. A lot of times people don't rock with me because I have a bad temper.
Can you do me a favor though? When you're telling the story, I know that you're very animated with your hands, but I don't know what you have the phone sitting on, but all of that is creating an echo to my knowledge. So if you
Is it still echoing? Is it still echoing?
No, it's not echoing. It's just like at the end, it's like, you know, you're a sound person. It does a little scratch. Whatever you have it resting on, it does a scratch. And that's because it's probably reverberating off or whatever. But if you could just minimize the like, if you keep your voice monotone and like minimize the hand motion, I think that might help with the sound a lot.
Yes. Yes. You as well. Sometimes when you're moving too, you're going in and out.
Not a problem. Too. I will, my ego allows this conversation and I will minimize my hand movement. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Please.
So, you know, we work as a collective in Soup. And sometimes your vision is big. It's bigger than what everyone else can see at the moment, you know? And sometimes I want you to not have power, and I want to take that power away from you. And we're just going to keep it back. We're going to go to let's go to Stone Soup for a minute. So at Stone Soup, we already had an issue because we were doing prior shows, and you would come in, you would host, and then you would fucking bounce. Excuse my language, Auntie. Then you would bounce, and we always left to clean and do whatever we had to do. And you would also arrive late. So as far as the collective and myself, it wasn't fair. You know what I'm saying? And then once again, whose ego's coming into play? You come in late because you had to go get dolled up, and you're notorious for that. And that pisses a lot of people off. It's like, nobody's mad at you getting dolled up, but be conscientious of your time. Because it's not just your time, it's their time, her time, you know, and that's one thing where you fall short. You don't acknowledge the other people as a collective in that moment. Okay. And so when you came in to the Stone Soup that night, and we got one of the Black Lives Matters girls to come and speak, this is before you got heavily into Black Lives Matter. I was unaware who was coming to speak, because I thought it was going to be, you know who, Miss D, but she didn't come. And
I would have still had an issue, but go ahead.
Right, and the other person came, which I had no idea about this person. And you just like shitted on her whole entire life in front of me, and she's a Black woman. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't get my, like she's feeling at this moment. You don't do that. That's a guest in our home. And not only did you shit on her.
Can you explain? Because I just want to put it out there. I was super shitty. No. No. We don't have to talk about now. I'm talking about then. I was super shitty. But can you explain what it is I did that you're saying you're describing as super shitty, super harmful? Like, can you explain what it is I did?
She took out of her time to come and play with us. Right. And she walks in and she's like, hi, Dee Dee. And then you just like hold your eyes, put your hand up and walked away from her. And then she humbled herself and she came to you and she was like, can we talk? Is there something I did to you? You was like, I just don't want you in my face, get out my face. You said something to that extent. Now she done humbled herself. Now you done totally crushed her. And you're somebody that she respected on some level or liked on some level. Now she can't function or operate for the rest of the show. How could she? You're the main person running this, and she was hired on, and you just made her feel like shit. Mm-hmm. And then you got on the mic. You not only made her feel like shit, you made me, Hannah, Jeannie, whoever, like to us, it's our perception. Let me put that out there. Intent is one thing, unaware is another, and perception is a whole nother thing. So our perception was that you were shitting on all of us at once. And
because
we all turned.
Can I ask you a question? Was your perception that I was shitting on, even though my interaction was with her, was your perception that I was shitting on you because you were asking me what happened, what was wrong, and I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to put on the show and go, because I didn't know you was bringing this girl. I didn't know you was bringing this girl.
You got on the mic.
Upset.
Right. Okay. You got on the mic, but you're notorious for switching around your poem. And when you got on the mic and you said your poem, you said, you fucking bitches, backstabbing me right here in front of my own face. Basically, you were saying, like, you supposed to have my back and you shitting on me for somebody else. Once again, perception, that was your perception. And for us, it made me livid, because like when I get mad, you know me, I'm just all like, oh, I'll fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I get angry.
We were going to fist fight. We were going to fist fight that day. Yes.
You done fucked up, now I got with gas. All nights.
Not just that day, for every day for like a month and a half after. Every time I see you, it was like on type. We would have soup meetings, and you would be sitting there in the daytime, but inside with your sunglasses on, and you would be like this. Let this bitch say one more thing.
I'm a bust your ass. You know, and that wasn't, I hate being that person, you know, and that's something I need to work on. Not always feel like I gotta hit somebody to get my point across, because I need people to hear me and be on my side. I'm like, I just gotta do what I gotta do, you know, and it's not right. So like I said before, it was perception. All that was based around perception. And once I started understanding that, I said, Dee, let's work on our friendship. You're gonna do some fucked up shit, because whatever past trauma you have, whatever power was taken away from you, and I knew, like, growing up, you was limited to power because you needed a pacemaker. So you couldn't really run out and play like the other kids. You had to kind of stay, you know, tightly knitted in. And I know now you're able to live bigger than life, you're gonna take charge and do that. And I should be bigging you up to do that, because you've lost a lot in your youth. But niggas don't know that, you know?
So this begs the question, it's something me and Tamala talk about a lot. What is it about someone else's trauma that allows, you know, we say hurt people. What is it about, we just talking about me. I don't want to talk about nobody else, because I don't want this to turn into they was out here talking about me and throwing subs. I'm talking about my behavior, right? Because at the end of the day, now that, you know, that situation happened in 2015. Now
and I just want to say something. If anybody got it, let me calm down. If anybody got an issue with that, it's not even about them right now. Once again, I hate that shit. We trying to heal. We trying to understand and move past it. You know, if they still, like, even the last time we had that meeting and they saw that you and I was cool. I mean, you're my fucking best friend. We're gonna fight. We're gonna have issues. And they was like, I'm not speaking to you, because you still fucking with her. How am I gonna let her go? Who let go?
You know what the funny thing is, not like ha 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 ha, but I think there's irony in what I thought was my principles in 2015. My principles in 2015 were very different than my principles in 2019, 2020. In 2015, I was like, bitch, if I sense that you about to shit on me, it's over for you. You will never step foot into my ethereal space ever again. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that woman had done something to me that you were unaware of, because you invited me into activism spaces. And people wonder a lot why I fuck with you, but my career, whatever that means, is largely attributed to my friendship with you, in which you would say, oh, you need somebody to speak and for people to listen? I know somebody. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and ever since then, you would put me, it was you, if you really want to talk about the nitty gritty, and I'm trying also not to get emotional and clap my hands, so that's why I'm holding them. If you want to talk about the nitty gritty, you were the person that introduced me to Donasia and was like, I know somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She's not well known, but it doesn't matter. I know somebody, she about to set shit off. And when I got there, you and I did the signs together. It was very nice. But during the time that I had went, and it's not an excuse for my behavior, but remember, I was not part of a community. My community existed in Watertown, Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying? And so I was living with 3 other white girls. It was a little nutty, okay? Like, and you know, so when I started hanging out with you, and you like thrust me into BLM spaces, you thrust me into spaces with Kendra, who's gonna be on the show on Saturday, right? And like other Black women, I was like, what is this? This is amazing. This is the community I craved. But there were some people, I feel, it's my perception, it was some people who saw what I was about and what I was about to do and was like, not over here, she ain't. And that bothered me because the same visceral response I gave to her, she gave to me. But the funny thing is, when I say ha 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 ha, we in 2020. And every time I see this woman, it's all love now.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. Because I think that there needs to be space. It's just my thought. I'm not a perfect person, like you said. And I'm really not even sure at what point, because after that whole thing had happened, someone in a very big position of power was getting called out. It wasn't me, thank God. It was some, you know, and you and I went to the meeting to have this conversation about her call out, and there was 30 organizers in a chair talking about how she had harmed everybody in the room. Even though I didn't like her, I say, you know what? She's not that bad. And everybody was looking at me like, traitor. Traitor.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember, you know, I think Crystal, again, I'm sitting with the criticism, I'm not pushing back. But I think what we're not talking about here is that a lot of times when I tell you, or I tell Jeannie, or I tell any one of our friends, I don't like that bitch. Something about her very inauthentic, and I said it's gonna come back to bite you. You be like, no, every Black woman is special and beautiful and wholesome and filling like a sweet pecan pie, right? And then when they shit on you, you be like, Dee Dee was right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and so I think we just need to find balance is all I'm saying. Right. Like I know, don't get me wrong. I have apologized to her 3 times now. And I think we're at a place where clearly she's forgiven me, because every time I see her, it's big queen energy love. You understand what I'm saying? But I think that we had to go through that because it was like cats and scratching in the litter box. And she was like, oh, you want to scratch in my litter box? I was like, yes. Like, yes. And we was shitting on each other. You didn't know, because you and I, we were friends, but we was not talking about activism. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was talking about we was on that poetry shit. Like, you know? Right. So I'm sorry to you. I'm apologizing to you, because then I did put you in an uncomfortable position, because the reason why she was coming to me on a humble is because she didn't know that this shit was my shit. And that is my ego. Right. You invited her, so she didn't know. Right.
Right. And the thing about it with the activism stuff, it's like, I always want you to understand, being in that, people are in it for 3 different reasons. They're in it.
Tell me, because I don't know what I'm in it for.
For fame.
Okay.
For some type of power or clout, or just to be a part of some type of community. You know, I think there's 4 things I think I named, but it's like you have to be in it.
I was talking to Ada. I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
You said my memory shot.
You know, we're not talking about. You said people are involved in activism for a few reasons.
They want to be a part of a community.
Okay.
They want some type of fame and recognition, or they're in it to be ego driven. You know, a lot of people's heart is not really in it. And when I got involved with it, my whole heart was in it. I always tell you about strengths and weakness. We all cannot go hit the ball with the bat. Some people gotta just catch a ball, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta know what position you play. I felt you was a very big part of this movement. And I'm like, because I was around all of them, and I saw the roles they all were playing, and it wasn't strong enough, and I don't care how they feel that I said that. It's my perception, and I'm sticking to it. It wasn't strong enough, and I knew once you came in, it was going to take off, which it did. And your heart was in it. And that's the only reason why you took off, because your heart was really in it. Like you said, you saw this community, you like it. Now, mind you, I can walk past each and every one. I can walk past each and every one of them right now, and half of them won't even recognize me, right or wrong.
Right. They were like, "Hi."
Who is she?
And not know your name. Hi.
Okay. I'm the one that gave you the email go. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why, because their heart wasn't in it. And I don't care how they feel that I'm saying this. You have to have your heart in it. If you have an inkling that you want to get in this for fame, to be known, or just to be part of a community, it's not going to work. This real work needs to be done, and it has to be authentic.
No, I appreciate you saying that. And so I'm glad that we talked about that, because then that lended itself to other things. I wonder, not saying that those things weren't important, but I remember how angry we got at each other, and we laugh at some of it now. I won't go into some of it, because then, people will get emotional when they watch it later, and they're going to feel some type of way. And I'm at a place in my life in 2020 where it's not necessary for me to stick the knife in and turn it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But what is it? You have known me for so long. Even remember that time that you told Bashi, you like, me and Didi only known each other for a year or 6 months or something like that. You said, he was like, yo, your oldest son looked at you like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, that's my aunt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. And it's because of connection. There's frequency and connection. It was no work needed. It was like, we just clicked. I feel bad, because there are like good people that want to connect with me and befriend me, but we both don't have a connection. So it's like, hey, how you doing? We check in with each other.
Ada's over here saying yes. Right.
You and I, we sleep in the same bed together. Ain't no grown ass woman.
You used to date someone who was like, y'all gay? And you were like, she is, but I'm not. I was very, especially like before my pregnancy, like I had a lot of like mental instability, and you knew it, like, you know what I'm saying? But we didn't have a name for it. You were just like, Didi be feeling the type of ways that Didi feel. And it was when I started going to therapy, and they was like, bitch, it got all the things, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I started getting on medication that have you noticed, I'm going to ask, because maybe you haven't. Have you noticed that I have calmed down a lot since 2015, 2016?
Okay, let's put it like this. You still have a demon in you. Catch your breath. Breathe. Still got a demon in you.
What's the demon?
We're gonna take it back to we about to touch on some. Lord have mercy. When you wrote that article about the cops.
I didn't write an article about cops. I wrote a letter to the Boston Teachers Union.
When you wrote on a piece of paper with your big fancy words, you planned the word. When you wrote down that shit about what you said, you normally check in with me, and this is when your demon comes into play. It's like, if I check in with that bitch, she gonna make me not do it. Because I'll be like, no, absolutely not. You better reword that shit. And you checked in with people that didn't have your best interest. That's how I feel. And I don't care who wants to come for me for that. Because if you love her, you should have stopped her. Because it wasn't a good thing to do in the moment. So have I seen any progress with you? I have, but like I say, you still have a certain demon that likes to come out and play and have a little fun every now and then, especially when it comes to you know who.
White people.
And the authority, the authority.
Cops.
You know, shots fired. Literally.
So I kind of brought this up earlier today when I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, Crystal we're gonna go live. So there's no editing this. Crystal is going to talk about the things she doesn't like about me. And the thing she doesn't like about me is how I get myself. So my question to you was, have I grown from the Dee Dee who was cursing out folks and shutting niggas down, Black folks, shutting people down? Have I grown in 2020 to a much calmer, medicated, I will shut you down, but on my terms?
I think that you're getting more care when it comes to people. I feel like you're putting more care into what you're doing when you're dealing with certain individuals that you either had issues with in the past. You're trying. I would definitely say you're trying, you know, because, you know, it's hard to fix anything that's broke, right or wrong. You got to get the right type of glue, right? And sometimes the little fine pieces, you just can't get back in there, you know? And I don't want you to beat yourself up with that. If niggas ain't fucking with you, then fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
If niggas ain't fucking with you, then fuck it. A quotable.
Right, because it's hard to fix something that's broke, especially when
you know who just joined? You know who
Ooh.
just joined talking about the past? Jasmine Monet just joined. Do you remember her? She was with We Are the Ones, and that was potentially the Christmas march. We shut down the Christmas lighting ceremony.
Yeah, I remember that.
We shut down.
Yes.
And niggas got arrested and all the thing. I was on the news like, hi. We have to be our Martin and our Malcolm. Jasmine, it's good to see you. I'm glad to see you here. And Ethan, remember Ethan, little white Ethan, Cancer Ethan.
Oh yes.
Night Gardens Ethan, Illuminous Fest Ethan. He gave us a heart. So you're saying that I've grown some, but what you don't like is that I'm still a provocateur when it comes to the white people. And I'm not trying to paint you in any kind of light. I'm just saying a lot of times when you get on my case about how I speak to white people and cops or people in positions of authority like Mayor Martin Walsh, you're like, did you have to take it that far, Dee Dee? I just want to know, you know, because, you know, I was talking to someone else about this earlier. What does it look like if Malcolm X would have been like quieter around white people or about how he felt around white people? Would we have the same kind of movement? And even someone like Martin Luther King Jr., like towards his death, he was like, let me tell you what I feel about the white moderate who are more interested with order than they are with justice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so everyone was talking about white people and how messed up they are, right? But for some reason, I don't know if you think this because I need to practice safety because I'm a feminine presenting person. I think you worry about me. I think that's where your critique comes from because you are afraid for my safety. I don't think that you think I shouldn't say what I'm saying. I think you're like, oh shit, here come the consequences from what you're saying. And it bothers me that you put yourself in these positions. Exactly. Because you felt this way when we shut down City Hall. Remember? You was like, everybody hates you because you put those babies in chains. And I'm like, we won though. They gave us the 20%.
And see, and that was another thing. That was another incident that I was not included in. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, just like see, and I think you learned not to include me when you want to get extremely radical. Because like, think back to- You
learn not to include me when you want to get extremely radical.
When Somerville's, when they wanted to take down the Black Lives Matter banner, and the police wanted to protest to take it down, and we wanted to stay up. And you guys decided to go rally and protest with the cops. And I said, absolutely not. I said, absolutely not. Huh?
You came though.
No, I said, you're not going to go protest with the cops. I said, pick another day or pick another location. And so you guys decided to pick another location.
Which was down the street from the cops.
Exactly. And then I remember Amanda Shea was there. Yep, she was there because you and Stephanie, right. I ended up showing up and you and, I don't do news and none of that craziness. You and Stephanie ended up leaving. I don't know where the hell y'all went. But I have put someone else in to host.
I think we went to go gossip.
Okay, but when you guys left, the police protesters came to our protest.
What did we go? Oh, we went. So what happened was there was a cord that wasn't long enough and no one was listening to us because we were Black. So we went inside the Somerville CCTV or whatever local television station it was, and we were demanding that they give us a fucking cord from their building to the speakers so we could speak. Yeah, we were gone for like 15 minutes because no one was listening to us.
So, and shit got real. You can ask Amanda Shea. Shit got real.
I'm going to tag Amanda Shea and ask her what happened.
It was about to be an all-out fight because those protesters came over to our protest and it was all like, take the fucking banner down and da-da-da-da-da.
Let me ask you a question.
But I stopped that shit. I cut it down. I said,
you're very violent. You're extremely violent. I want people to know that about you.
But I stopped it. I said, not today. I said, everybody's gonna shut the fuck up right now. And they all shut the fuck up. You asked me this shit. She was like, I don't know how you did that shit, but you quiet that store down.
Let me ask you a question. So why was it like, I feel like a lot of times the disconnect that we have in our friendship, it's not a disconnect. It's just a point of tension, I think, is that other people could be doing the same shit.
The beef in our friendship is the beef.
Okay, so the bouillon cube of beef in our friendship comes from outside sources and how I react to it. Because the cops were doing, for people who are like, we hate protesters, God damn them, they shut down the streets, they interrupt traffic. Cops we only responded to them. They decided that it was gonna have a protest. And we responded in kind, like, no, the fuck you ain't gonna have a protest, not peacefully. We gonna turn it up, And I feel like you were like, Dee, but you can't do this. And I wonder sometimes, like, what would our friendship look like? Maybe it would be different, maybe it wouldn't, I don't know. I feel like I've lost a lot of loving time with you. And that's just where I'm at with it. Because of points of contention you've had with my politics, or things that I've done. A lot of times you agree with my politics, but sometimes you say, Dee, you doth go too far. And I'm like, but it's necessary to push the envelope because I'm not radical if I don't push the envelope.
You're in a fork in the road, okay? You come to this fork in the road. Each path leads you to your destination. But one path is chaotic and crazy. The other path, it's slow, moving, takes too much time to get there, but you get there safely. You always choose the quick, chaotic fucking path, and that's what rocks me. That's it. That's it. I'm like, nah, let's do this safe and slow. I hate when Black people get arrested. I hate when we gotta give these niggas money to get these Black people out. No, like my politics come into play where I'm like, I'm a coyote. My spirit animal is a coyote. When I was little, a coyote jumped up in my face and went through my chest, and I'm the trickster. And that's how I maneuver. I like tricking. Like, you're not gonna catch me. No, nobody never catches me. And you know that. I move in shadows, And that's why niggas be like, I don't know her. They done met me 1,000 times, right or wrong. But what they say?
Right. Remember the JC guy was like, I don't know her. And you're like, my nigga, every summer we was hanging together.
No, because the way I maneuver is either if you are on my frequency and we really rock together, you know me. And I love on you and I love you and we're just together. If you notice, everybody that's not connected to me, they don't know who I am and they cannot remember me to save their life.
I want to ask you a question. If you recall, and she's probably watching, but I don't care because I feel like this has happened. It's not just her, it's many women. Okay. Do you think that I'm a fuckboy?
Oh, most definitely. Oh my God, you're the biggest fuckboy I've ever met when it comes to these women. And if you got these women in my inboxes, and I'm just
no, hold up. Do I have them in your inbox, or do they just instead of being in a relationship?
No, it's all you. It's all you.
No. Let me ask my question. Instead of being in a relationship with me or trying to figure out how we can relate, they take the easy, quick, chaotic route, like you just chastised me about, to be like, I'm gonna go check Crystal real quick, see what her advice is for this Didi Delgado person. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be a hood shaman and then be like, I wonder why people seek me out. Because niggas want to be as quick and chaotic about their answers as I am.
But Didi,
you
have a pattern. You have a pattern.
I do have a pattern, and that's why I don't date these hoes. I don't date nobody. No. I don't even date my husband.
No, you have a pattern. You pick the same type of chick. If I line them all up, I feel like I'm looking at quadruplets. You pick the same type of chick to fuck with. You don't fuck with no bad bitch that's gonna put you in your place. I noticed that. You stay far away from them. Because you ain't trying to be strung out in my inbox. You know what she did? But
I've been there before. I've been there before, strung out. Remember when I was in love with Roxanne?
Yeah,
she didn't want to be with me. She wanted to be with a girl who treated her very badly. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's why it's her fault when I say that you pick the same type of chick, because you already know where you stand.
So how can you say no? How can you say it's my fault that I picked the same type of woman? If it's not our fault that we don't pick these men, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? We just fall into these trappings. I am a fuckboy. I have said it so many times, and people be like, let's explore that, Didi. No one has said that to me. I feel like, not that it's on anybody else's onus to teach me, but I literally I've been talking about my flaws for like all the time, right? And nobody be like, let me take you under my wing and show you this is what life is really about. I'm just learning as I go, Mm-hmm. And I think you're right. If I did actually, one of the persons I was dating, I was like, I think I did the fuckboy thing. I was like, you're not my typical type of person I want to date. This is like usually the women I date. And I took pictures of all the women I've dated. Shauna, Celia, who else? Who was the comedian? That lady, like, you know what I'm saying? Buffy, like all of them just, and now that you're saying that they all are the same, you're saying, not that I picked people that look alike, but I picked people that have similar personalities, and I'm wondering why.
Yes, the personalities are all the same. That's why I'm like, even when you brought Buffy, I said, you guys left. I said, why are you doing that? I said, why are you playing games? You know what you're about to get into. Why are you playing games? And what happened? Games were played. You see? And then you find a way to manipulate your own ego and be like, nah, she crazy. Nah, this is the person. No, it's not. It's not.
Okay. I don't know how do I fix it? I don't know how to fix it.
Acknowledge it first.
I didn't acknowledge it. I'm like, I have actually told these women, do not get on a plane and fly and come see me, because I'm probably not a good person when it comes to relationships. I'm a great person when it comes to sex. I suck at relationships. And I think I've been extremely honest about that. And people think the same way that if you're in a cisgendered heterosexual relationship, that as a woman, I'm going to change him. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of women I have dated have thought that, even though I was very clear, date one with Reese, I was like, I'm not the person for you, but I like to kiss you. Is that okay? And she was like, yes, I think that this is a great idea. And then a week later, after a kiss, she was in your inbox and it was like, I need to talk to you about your friend. I need to feel that I'm acknowledged, and I don't know how to fix it. So I actually don't date women, and then I feel like I'm suppressing myself. So then I stopped dating anybody, and now I find myself getting married. I'm sorry. I don't know the answer, because I feel like a lot of times
the answer is do not go after women with that type of personality, because all you're going to do is hurt them.
But I have pursued women who I find amazing and that I want to be with, and they don't want to be with me. I'm finding it very hard to date women. I'm finding it very easy because men have no personality to date them. You know what I'm saying? But it's very hard for me to date women. You know, the women, at least 3 of them that I've been like, I love her to death. I just want to be with her.
Right. But like, it has to be reciprocated. It has to be given back. And if they're unable to do this, because it's going to be just fuckboy routine all over and over again, you know, they'll be fuckboying you.
Right.
So
how do you think, because you've seen some of the relationships I've been in with men, how do we prevent people getting their feelings hurt? Do I just stop dating? Like, am I, maybe because, you know, I'm a daughter of Yamaya, so maybe I'm just not meant to be lucky in love. It doesn't matter how many love petitions I write out, or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even in my marriage, I'm like.
See, you want relationships to make sense. That's what you want. Come on, make sense all day. You want this shit to make sense all day.
That's my favorite phrase. Make it make sense.
You know, make it make sense. And it can't.
Why?
No relationship can make sense. No, not one.
Everybody's a control thing.
No relationship can make sense. You want that shit to make sense. Be it past traumas are coming alive, control things are coming alive, feeling small, like when a person's insecure.
Okay.
And remember that time
I'm insecure?
Remember we was in the soup box, we were emailing each other, and we had decided to do something with soup, and you shut it down. It was like, no, we're not.
Why are you telling my business for? Go ahead, tell the story.
This is what I think it should be. This is what I think it should be. No, we're all in agreement. All the soup members, like, yes, we're gonna do this, you know. And you was like, no. And I said, listen here, you and your big eyes, your big hair, your big lips, your bigger than life personality, but you're small on the inside.
You did tell me that, and I was really mad at you. I was like, do I punch or do I duck? I don't know. You did tell me that. I'll never forget that. I was like, wow.
You small on the inside, fuck out of here, we do it.
Wow. They'd be like, what happened with you and Crystal? This bitch told me I have a small personality. Never mentioned all the other positive things you said about me.
But that's what I'm saying. We want things to make sense when it comes to relationships, and it's just not going to. You know, I wanted you to be on board with what we all on board with, and you just was like, nah.
No, that is not what happened. You're telling the story incorrectly.
Okay.
What happened was we were on a really great trajectory. We were doing great things. It was happening increment by increment. People were like, oh, we want to book you. We want to book you. And I was like, yes, I know you want to book us. And then my baby daddy, he tried to play me. And I was 2015 Dee. I wasn't 2019 Dee. That's like, let's co-parent effectively, right? I was 2015 Dee. I was like, oh, at the event that I'm hosting, that I'm honoring you at, that I have all these women here making soup because we soup, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we mixed in the pot, and you want to bring another woman in here, and she knows that I'm with you, and you know that I'm with you, and y'all just gonna disrespect me like that? Ma'am, I'm letting you know right now, 2015 Dee should have flipped that entire table of soup right on his ass. You understand what I'm saying? But I couldn't, because I didn't want to be embarrassed more than I was embarrassed.
And that was the self-control I always want to see in you, especially when it comes to these white people and people in authority. That's the type of control I'd be looking for.
You want me to exercise control amongst white people the way I exercise control with not flipping that entire crock pot of soup on my baby daddy.
Right.
I can't do it.
I know. And I accept you for that, and we rock. You know, it is what it is. You know. Because like one of us have to bend. You know, if you're not gonna do what the fuck I say, I have to accept you. If I love you, I'm gonna have to accept you, you know, and just rock with you. We're about to get arrested. We're about to get arrested. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully some good shit will come out of this in the end.
I want to say two things. Number one, I can go back in time and not go back in time and fix it, but I will say that I was wrong. I pulled out my big dick energy during that time. I was like, wasn't until me and Navah came along that any of your shit, Mr. I founded Soup in 2014 and you guys just came along. I was like, but we made it pop though. Who is you? I was like, and at the end of the day, if you try to play me, that I think for me, even my ego now in 2020, I'm not a martyr, but my ego in 2020 is like, she's trying to play me. I can't, I gotta rip off my face in order to be quiet if I feel like someone is going out of their way to be disrespectful to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to be a good person in 2020. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's difficult. Still gotta unpack my shit. But I will apologize to you because I felt like I dragged you down with my bullshit because my relationship with Matt should have been separate from my relationship with Soup. And I do think that at some point you did come to terms with the fact that it may not have been all my fault because he was not being truthful with the nature of our relationship and how deep we have a child now. It's not. And
I asked day one. I said, because it's like, yeah, we want to put this group together, Soup, and da-da-da. And so let me ask you a question. You fucking Didi? He was like, no, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I was
everybody's fucking me. It's okay. Don't lie.
I was like, I would love to do this, but do not pull me into something if you two are fucking, because it's not gonna work. It's not. You know, you two fucking's not gonna work, and Soup's not gonna work because it's not honest. It wasn't honest. And that's why I say, even with activism and, you know, organizing, it has to come from an honest place in order for it to work. For anything to work, it has to come from an honest place. You know, I gave birth to 5 children. And when I gave birth to my 4th child, I had diabetes, I had thyroid issues, I had liver shit, I had preeclampsia, I had all that shit. Them doctors was terrified. I was a Black woman, 45 years old. They did not want to die on that goddamn table and they get a lecture. But I knew that me having this baby is coming from an honest place. And I delivered her with no problem. All natural, no epidural, no IV in my arm or anything, because it came from an honest. I don't care what you going through, what icky you got on you. If something's coming from an honest place, it's gonna work out.
Is there more?
But nothing's not gonna work out if it's not from an honest place.
It's kind of liquory. All right, so let's talk about honesty. I don't want you to mention the person's name.
Okay.
When I was having Egypt, when I was in labor, I'm being very careful with my words because I do believe there are some things that are sacred. And to me, that moment in my life was one of the most sacredest experiences I've ever had. There was a point where you kind of like flipped the table. And you were like, I never really seen you. You and I have a boundary. You asked me the other day, you said, Didi, do you have boundaries with me in our friendship? I said, oh, absolutely, I do. And I said, I have one boundary. I will never, ever speak on the relationship that you have with your child's father, with one of them, you know, the last one. Right?
I got 3 now. I got 3.
But you've been in a relationship with this person for more than 11 years, right? And I told you that
off and on.
And I have told you that is, I have the emotional intelligence to know that there is a situation that exists between you that I cannot come in between. So even if I think I'm doing well by supporting you in a way that makes sense to me, if it don't make sense to you, it's not support. That's how I've seen it. and I don't speak about it. When you tell me stuff, I just be like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is next? What do you need to feel supported? Like, because that's what I've learned. Those are tools that I've learned to minimize my ego in the situation, right?
Yeah.
I've minimized my ego in the situation. While I was giving birth, there was a person there that helped me give birth. And you were just like, none of this makes sense. And he's got to make a decision whether he goes or he stays. Like, I want to know, what is the difference? Because I think you have a lot of love for me and you don't want to see me get hurt. You don't want to see me be played because you know that that's actually my tense spot, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? But in that moment of vulnerability and you knowing that I really couldn't take care of my heart that way. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it. You was the one who stepped up and was like, listen, motherfucker, if you're going to go back to where you came from, go back to where you came from. But I took the day off of work to help this girl get birth. And we're going to get birth. And then he was like, no, I'm going to stay. Like, and you was like, ooh, you was about to fucking. And so I want to know, what boundary in friendship can you and I exercise to like mitigate like the way that like we want to react versus the way we should react?
And that that also ties in with the way you treat white folks and cops. So I had to let that day rock, and I had to fall back because a part of me sensed and saw that you really needed him there. You had manifested that, and I can't
You think
mess
I'm a
with
manifester?
Yes, you are. You manifest, because none of that shit made sense. It didn't make sense. Fuck it all. Okay, so I'm like, this is manifestation work. I need to fall the fuck back and let it just rock. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I've always spoke highly of him. I've never dogged him out. I've always had his best interest around you and him or whatever y'all got going on. I've never, because there is good. It's like, with the yin yang sign, the white part have the little black. So there's like a lot of good with a little bit of bad. And the other part's a lot of bad with a little bit of good. So
what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm talking about the yin yang of y'all bullshit. Okay. So I had to understand that and fall back from that and let that just rock. And to this day, I feel there's definitely something deep there. It just, relationships don't make sense because there's no honesty. Once again, I'll bring you back to that. Until people can be honest with each other, they will be able to have a legit relationship. You and I, we are honest with each other. I tell you about your bullshit. You tell me about mine. We figure out what boundaries are good for you and I, right, so that we don't hurt each other or bring harm. And this is why and plus we have a natural connection.
So what about people that I have had, I gotta fix my titties. What about people that I have had a natural connection with, right? Because I think I've had a natural connection with a lot of people, and then it goes sour. And I think a lot of people assume that because you my ace, you my rider, that you're gonna let me get away with bullshit. And I hope people see from this this conversation that you really need to.
That's what it's about. They always think I'm letting you get away with bullshit. They come to fucking yes me, and I'm always going to be like, nah, you shouldn't have done that. But I don't chew you out in front of these niggas. That's what it is. I guess they want to see me go in on you in front of them about your bullshit. No, I'm going to wait till we talk and be like, yo, I don't like that you did X, Y, and Z. And vice versa. You've come for me like, bitch, what do you want? So, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
You remember the time that we fought in the street in Chinatown? You were like, they told me. Hey.
Not today. But like.
Why do you think that someone had once said that I just spit out a piece of salmon. I don't even know where it went. Someone once said, because we're not going to talk about the person, we're just going to talk about the behavior. Someone once said that I sent a flying monkey to them to try to gaslight them. Look at your face. You don't know what I'm about to talk about. Someone said I sent a flying monkey to try to, sway people to my side. Has there ever been a time that any friend or romantic partner of mine been sicked, that I sicked you on them? Go talk to them, Crystal. Has it been, I just want to clear it up. Has it been the truth that most people feel like, because you know me the best, even people I've been fucking for years will be like, this bitch know her. Let me call her. Like, I don't even know how they get your number. I don't know how this person got your number.
Inbox me on Facebook.
Okay, so they on Facebook, right? So my question is, why do you think that people build the narratives that, because I am fucked up. We all are. But why do you think people build narratives about me and it base it on a lie? Have I ever sent you after somebody like, go talk to them, Chris? Because
no, you've never sent me after no one.
Why do people feel comfortable even coming to you?
Because they see the connection. They see that connection and they're like, oh, they're close. Let me go to her. Even like people who don't even know me that live in Albany or New York with you or whatever, they've inboxed me. And they're like, they don't even inbox the people that's in Albany or even some people in Boston that you think.
You know what? Look at Ada's face, because Ada was like, they would never try that shit with me because they already know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's right. Just funny to me.
But even people here that you're really tight with, they don't even inbox them. They come straight for me. And because they also know I'm not your yes man. I feel like because they don't personally one-on-one know me, but they can feel the vibe, like she's not her yes man. Let me go to her. You know, when I first met you, I told you was a what?
A superstar.
A superstar. And then what else did I tell you were?
I don't remember, my nigga, I'm drunk.
I said, okay, I'm gonna come back to that.
No, I want to know what you said now.
I said, oh, I know what you are.
I'm a hoe?
No.
Ma'am, I'm trying to figure out, my eyes are itching. I'm trying to figure out what's happening here. What am I?
A secondary.
Oh, yes, you did call me a secondary psychopath. You're laughing about it. So can you explain to people why you believe, even though you're not a doctor, why you believe, if I had $1 for how many bitches try to fucking diagnose me, I would be rich. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you think that I'm a secondary psychopath? You're basing this on astrology.
Mostly astrology, but also just the way you behave. Like,
okay.
You want something. People are like kind of toys to you. And you want to see what you can get out of them. And then when it doesn't go your way, you detach and shut down because you what's the word? You charm them in. You lay it on thick.
That one time you're like, Dee Dee, your problem is you make people believe that you love them and you don't.
Yes, that's why
I love everybody. I also hate everybody.
You don't.
No, I also hate everybody. I do.
You don't. You come in and you get them where you want them at, knowing that it's not. You don't really love them like that, and that's why I was like, oh, you charming them. You're a secondary psychopath. And then I want
to deviate for a second. We're gonna come back to that. There's a woman that I'm very much interested in. Haven't spoke to Anthony about it. He needs to mind his business for a second. But I know I could never pursue her because I already know. You understand what I'm saying? I already know she's Celia. She's Roxanne. I already know who she is. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. And I just already know. It's not that I'm not manifesting. It's not that I'm not writing things down in a petition. I got a candle going on upstairs right now. Like, I already know that I'm not desirable. I just already know that it's just, I feel sad about that sometimes. So I guess my biggest thing is People can say that I'm an asshole. People can say that I'm a jerk. People can say that I'm a secondary psychopath. People can say all these things about me. And I feel like that is the only narrative that can exist around me when I'm like multidimensional and I'm like this whole human being. And sometimes these narratives hurt like hell.
Right.
Like it hurts like hell because I'm like, wow, when I was with you, whether it was platonic or romantic, we was multidimensional together. There wasn't, I didn't blow stardust on you and was like, now bend to my will every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I wonder, am I abusive? Like, that's something I've been having to contend with ever since the last person was like, she's my abuser. And I'm like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to do a lot of quiet time. I didn't leave Facebook or nothing like that because I really don't think I did nothing wrong to this person. But I had to think about, was in this friendship, in this romantic relationship, did I show up to the white supremacist rally in a polo and khakis? I mean, you know what I'm saying? How do I show up?
Like I said before, you have to also understand, what are your relationships based off of? You know, when I met you, we met through poetry, but we also had this connection. So it went deeper. A majority of people that you are getting close to, they're into something that you're into, be it activism, be it poetry. And they're also trying to shoot high. So with them, they feel they can rise. So how genuine on their end is their relationship with you should be the real question. Because this is where the harm comes into play. I keep saying before, it's all about honesty. The people that are inboxing me and talking shit about you, about how you're not showing up the right way in their life, because you're not doing what they want you to do to get them to this level. That's all it is. Because every time they talk to me, all I'm hearing is level up, level up. I need to level up. And I need her to level me up. And that's what pisses me off about people. And I've told you that before.
Ada's sitting here like agreeing with you. And I'm just trying to figure out I don't want to focus on those people because this is me on my journey to focus on myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? I look at my friendship with Ada. I look at my friendship with Shia. I look at my friendship with Tamla. I look at my friendship with you. I look at my friendship with Monica. And I'm just like, what is it about this group of individuals that see me as my whole self, right? And it's not a pity party. It's just a question. What is it about y'all, you all, as collective, as individual, whatever word you want to use, what is it about y'all? What?
Caregivers. We're caregivers. Those who are close to you, if you notice that, they're caregivers. That's the purpose they're serving in your life. And they enjoy caring for you. You know, I'm a Cancer, so it's in me to protect and nurture and care for.
You're a Cancer and I'm a Pisces.
And every time I find someone I could just care for, and that's like I got 5 fucking kids, you know, and every time I find somebody I can nurture and just care upon and love upon, it fulfills me. And so these people that are in your life, and you notice that it's a healthier relationship, because nothing's perfect, but it's healthier.
Right.
They're caregivers. They know how to care for you the way you need to be cared for in the moment.
Ada just made me salmon and green beans instead of fried chicken. I mean, she brought fried chicken too, but I'm eating salmon and green beans.
And the thing about it, once again, we do manifest people and things into our lives. You know what I'm saying? You've manifested some dope ass people in your life. And that's what you need to sit with. You do have these caregivers. You do have these people that support you unconditionally, where you don't have to focus on those who want to ride your coattail, your bandwagon, or just fucking level up on you.
Oh, that's a word. Why have you and I never been, we've been in conflict, but I don't think, and I'm gonna knock on wood, I got this from the thrift shop. Ada was like, it's $75 on the internet, bitch. Look at my face. Why do you think that you and I have been friends for over 7 years and we have all the conflicts we've had? Do you think that you and I have an abusive relationship?
No, I think that
Like I was like, yes, say yes.
No, I don't think so. I think we work through what need to get worked through, and I think we understand the roles that we both play into each other's life. You are not a taker. I know people like to label that on you. You are a giver, because whatever you take, Dee, you constantly giving it out. You're giving care to so many people. So don't never feel like there's something you're doing wrong as far as the relationship that you're close to. It's those whose intent is to rise above on your coattail, like I keep saying. And you just gotta, it's up to you to change the lens. Sometimes we have to change. You see me. I will not let go of my abuser. I will fuck
It's
him
not funny.
up.
Because I know you will fight somebody. You just called me the other day. You was like, do you know what this bitch did? She tried to sleep with my abuser and I'm going to fucking kill her. And I was
So, and because I'm not ready to let go of my abuser, so I'm not in a position to judge anyone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in a position to judge anyone. I'm not ready to fucking let it go. I got thing 1 and thing 2, who's 1 and 2 years old, and I got 5 others, so I'm not ready to let go. And it's up to me to finally just take off these lenses, put on some different lenses, and change my fucking perception.
What's your most painful relationship? You have a relationship with yourself. You have a relationship with your children. You have a relationship with your children's dads. And then you have a relationship with your family. What is your most painful relationship, Chris?
It differs. Like my 24-year-old son, that's one of the most painful relationships that I have. We're getting better, but when someone has come out of your body, you expect a certain amount of love from them, a certain amount of understanding from them. And when you don't get that and you don't see it, I think that it hurts worse than what any man could do or any woman can do. It's, it's your child. It's your child. And I want to see a certain amount of respect, love, and understanding when it comes to me from my own kids. I think that's now, because I've been through with the relationships, the romantic relationships, it's just a repetitive cycle. I keep going through the same stuff. It doesn't matter which dude I get married, still go through it. Get married, you're still cheating on me. You're still, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
So when we talk about relationships that cause us pain, do you think about the criticism? So like you say, you and your relationship with your son, I was about to say his name, but I'll reserve. Do you think your relationship with your son does the pain come from the inability for either of you to receive criticism or critique?
Yes. Yeah. Don't want to be criticized. Don't want to have a flashlight shining on their flaws,
Okay. And so he doesn't like to be critiqued at all. You actually cannot say nothing to him like that's adverse. And so I think about, the reason why, like when you tell me stuff about him, that I'd be like on his side so much is because I don't like to be critiqued either. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so like, how do you love people still and not throw your baby away essentially with the bathwater? Because you're like, oh, you don't like to be critiqued? I'm pulling the cancel that bitch like Nino. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you how can anyone, not just you, maneuver around folks that don't like to be I don't like to be spoken to, Chris.
Right.
I'll accept it. I'll sit with it, but I'm still plotting on how to respond to it, and that's my fault.
Right. What was your question?
How does criticism, how can we deal with criticism better in a relationship?
You have to just acknowledge what someone is saying, that they're saying may hold some weight and may even be factual. Especially when your parent is talking to you who has maneuvered in this world and made as far as they have, and they're trying to guide you.
Right.
You kind of need to listen. You kind of need to listen and take the criticism. Like, people got to get out of their God complex. You know, they think
Okay.
you shouldn't be talking to me like this. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't need your guidance, you know, but you do. We all need it, you know. When I'm at work and my boss is telling me, oh, you messed up with X, Y, and Z, I can't be like, bitch, don't talk to me like that. I
I don't
can't
see
do
why
that.
you don't. I be
You
getting
know, I have to be
every.
like,
I
I have
got
to be like,
fired
you know
twice
what?
since I.
Right. I be like, this is me. When something's pointed out that I did wrong, I'm like, you know what? I'm absolutely sorry. Let me correct that for you right now. Please accept my apology, you know? And because I can humble myself.
So you
I'm
think
not
that I need
perfect.
to work on my humility more?
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
take the criticism, sit with it, and understand, how do I make it that nobody sees this anymore? How do I make sure their perception won't see this again?
Okay. All right. I'm gonna sit with that.
Okay, is it bedtime yet?
Mm-hmm.
It's bedtime.
Because I need to go. The problem is that I've been doing these, and then I gotta make flyers for the next day. I wish I could raise the money for like an assistant.
Workers.
For a worker. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
you know, maybe you should see if there's anybody who's willing to volunteer their time and effort to handle those things that you
the
need to get
problem
done.
is I hate working with white people. And then the Black women that want to work with me, I feel guilty, like, you know, that I cannot pay them. You know what I'm saying?
And see, that's the other thing. I feel like Black women, we've always helped each other. We all that we had. Why do we now break it down to where we can't help each other anymore? You know, we have to still learn to help each other as Black women.
I'm gonna sit with that too.
Yeah.
Because I've blocked 4 Black women this week.
Oh,
Not even
God.
because not even because they disagree with me. I just saw them just like, I'm like, wow, this is what you said about me. Yes.
When we help each other, that's a part of manifestation. That's a part about bringing something better into your life. So you should also allow someone to help you. You know, like if someone offers you money, you should always take it, because they're looking for, I know you don't like the word blessing, but they're looking to manifest something good in their life. You know?
You want me to be able to accept help more often.
And I feel like letting Black women know that if there's a Black woman that can help you, let her do it. Because guess what? She may do a better job than the white woman.
Okay.
And it's not like you're not looking out for her. You just keep looking out for each other.
Right. Okay.
We lost a sense of familyness. We lost a sense of just being a collective. We really have. And I just don't know how to get that back. You know, somebody was talking about in Africa that they shut down. So I don't know which part of Africa, but they shut the city down around 1 o'clock and everyone goes and eats. And then after their lunch is over, the city opens back up, but they eat together as a family. And it's a community, you know?
Noemi says she loves us both so much. I don't know why. She should just love you because I'm a fuck boy. I am a secondary psychopath. You told me that my personality is small.
No, I'm notorious for crossing boundaries. I done fucked up so many relationships because I crossed all these fucking boundaries that I didn't know that were there. You know, just recently I just lost a very close friend. And for some reason I crossed a boundary that I did not know was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that friends, to keep your friends, start talking about your boundaries. Like, you're my friend. It's the boundary I have, and I need you to like
boundary
fall in line with it.
Come from?
Huh?
I said, where does this boundary conversation for me?
You taught me boundaries.
Baby.
You taught me, because I didn't know that we were supposed to have boundaries. I thought I love you.
Same. In my life, I was like, look at me, fancy free. And all that jazz, we're gonna, you know, and you were like, I love you, Didi Delgado. You have no boundaries. And
yes.
I was like, no, I have to have boundaries because these motherfuckers is fucking with my nerves.
Yeah. Yeah. And because when I see people like you and Jeannie, y'all both said you can't stand that when I meet people for the first time, I just start loving up on them.
I hate it.
And I
They're
think
evil.
everybody, because I always see the good in everyone, because everyone has good and bad in them. So I'm only seeing the good in them. And that's why I'm like loving up on everyone. And y'all like, you know, especially Black women. I'm like, oh no, come here. Let me hug you. Let me talk with you, you know?
I'm like, don't talk to her. I know all about her.
I'm like, no, stop it. Be nice.
So that's what I appreciate most about our friendship is that we've never tried, and that's what I was knocking on wood, we've never tried to destroy each other. There have been things that I've done to hurt you, whether purposefully or inadvertently, and you've been like, you never went to the internet to be like, let me tell you everything I know about this whack ass bitch, Didi Delgado. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I only go to the internet when somebody went to the internet on me first, and people should never play with me. People should never. My mouth is nothing to play with. Get that in your soul. My mouth is a James Brown split.
So one time you broke the trust in our friendship. You told, I can't believe this. You told this dude's wife to be, she was acting very high and mighty, like, can no bitch touch me? And she looked like a linebacker. It wasn't about her masculinity. It's just she looked like she was all shoulders, no neck, no face, what to speak of. And she was acting as if she was better than you. You know what I'm saying? And you, out of nowhere, tagged me in the post. It was like, well, at the end of the day, bitch, that's why your man went on that date with my homegirl. So I do sometimes.
I'm messy as fuck. I'm messy as fuck. Do not mess with me. Do not mess with me. I will mess your whole life up.
I totally agree with that. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, the duality is that inadvertently I was collateral damage because you was like, oh, bitch, you want to play? Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't mean to hurt me. And it didn't really hurt me. I was just like, damn, now I got to explain the whole situation or whatever.
But it wasn't to hurt you. It was to hurt others, you know? And I did use, and I apologize because I used you as my rook.
It wasn't to hurt you, it was to hurt the other bitch.
In this chess game. I use you as a rook in this chess game. And I apologize.
No, we're good.
Is that a boundary? Is that a boundary? Is that a boundary? Can I use you in my chess games? Is it a boundary? No more using you?
No. You know what's funny about that? I didn't mind that you used me because you've always been very right about, you've been always, like, I'm being devilish now. You've always been very right about how something is going to transpire. So when you first were telling me about this person, you were like, and I'm never gonna. You were like, I'm never gonna.
Y'all can't meet. I was like, y'all can't meet because that.
And I was like, why not? You always talk about this person. They sound so fun. I'm so fun. It'll be great. And you're like, no.
It's gonna get messy. Y'all gonna be in love with each other. It's gonna get messy. No, y'all can't.
We wasn't in love. We went on one date that lasted 5 hours. It was.
But it would have went there. If you guys had more time around each other, something would have, you know, the tea tree would have just, you know, it was there. Them chemicals, chemtrails. Chemistry, chemtrails. I mean, you can just see it. You can see when two people, like when I met you and Matt. Well, I knew Matt, but when I met you, when I looked at Matt and I looked at you, I did a double take. I said, these niggas are fucking.
Egypt.
No, and this is way before Egypt. I was like, these niggas are fucking. And I asked him, and so you fucking her? You know what I'm saying? He was like, no. But I could see it. But then I was thinking, is she fucking him? Because I know she's fucking somebody else. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, but I was like, oh, she's fucking everybody. I didn't know this.
It was true. Do you remember? Okay, do you remember this one time? Because like he likes to act like we were never in a relationship. Do you remember one time we went to a house party? We went to some poetry event. It was me, you, Jeannie, him, Shauna. We went to some poetry event, and then we went to an after party. I forget whose house it was at. It was in JP. And then we all went to Victoria's Diner afterwards, and he just kept giving me this ice grill, right? And then when we had that fight where I shut down Soup, he called you, because that's what niggas do when they mad at me. He called you. I don't send nobody. I don't send you after no. He called you and it was like, we need to talk. I'm sorry.
Yes.
He was like, we need to talk. I don't know how to reach her. She's just doing the most. Was doing the most. Because you're not going to with me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I remember that was one of the things that he brought up. So
You're fading out.
Huh?
Okay, you back. You was fading out.
Sorry. That was one of the things that he brought up, was that night that we went to the party and we all went to like breakfast. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning. We all went to breakfast and it was me, you, Jeannie, him, Shauna. And he was like, you got me around some bitch you fucking and da 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 da. And I was like, why? Remember that? Like, he was like, oh, you hurt me. And I was like, tit for tat, nigga.
I remember that. Yes.
Just so messy. So my last question to you is, because I've actually this is like could go on forever. Like this is how we talk on the phone. But my last question to you is something that I ask all my guests, and you are one of my esteemed guests because you are the person that actually knows me more than even my partner knows me. And so the question I ask is twofold. Number one, is there something that you were hoping that I would ask you or that you were surprised that I didn't talk to you about? And number two, who would you like to see on the show?
I think we covered mostly everything that I was assuming.
We had a list.
We did have a list. To be honest with you, I would like to see my friend Sadiqa on your show. I think you guys are so similar, and it's like, she's very educated. She's a scientist, and she's just so smart and so dope as fuck. And I mean, I'm just saying, I would like to see her on the show, and I know y'all don't know. I know y'all don't know each other, and you never got a chance to know each other.
Why is
you know
that?
what I'm saying? You guys don't know each other, and you never got a chance to know each other. The first meet, the energy was off. You know what I'm saying? The energy was whack, and I don't know what I'm not. My perception of that whole thing is not the two of your perception. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just knows y'all wasn't. Something happened, and y'all literally just saw each other, just met, and there was this.
It was a Noxema mask. That shit was sharp. It was a little tingly. I was like,
it was like COVID-19 when y'all first met, what the fuck is this? Like, no, y'all
on an N95. What?
Y'all say hi. I don't even know if you guys said hi. It just was a weird fucking situation. But
she was like, "This is my friend. She a scientist." I'm like,
yeah, I'm just like, because y'all both are really dope. You're really dope, and I've been blessed. I've been blessed to have a lot of dope people in my life. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Like, even the ones that fell to the side, they did their season's over, and I know that there's gonna be more dope people come.
Of course, you are your own star matter.
Yes.
No, you really are, and I feel like not a lot of people know that I fuck with you the long way because you have always believed in me. Even when I didn't believe in myself.
Yes.
There have been so many times I've called you crying because I was in so much pain. You were there for me through my hospitalization. You was there for me during the loneliness of my pregnancy when everyone was asking why I don't just have an abortion. And I was like, I can't do it. I feel like this baby gonna be a millionaire, like a gazillionaire, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Egypt is just the truth. Like, and I told you that, like, I was like, I won't go back. And you told me, you were in one of my poems. I've only written 2 poems about you. And one was an apology to you. And it was the last poem I ever wrote, it actually. I'll have to find it and post it, and be like, remember the time that I wrote this little whack ass poem and I thought I was doing something constructive? But the second time I wrote about you was in my poem to Egypt, where I was apologizing for calling Egypt to existence when I wasn't ready to be a parent, you know? And in the poem, I said, your aunt says that I am brave for traveling this road alone. I tell her I'm more cowardly lion. I'm looking for a wizard to give me courage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you were just like, you know, that's always been, I feel like you're not my yes man, but when you say yes man, like it means something. Like you
and that's why. And that's why it means something, because I'm not your yes man. But when it's time for me to be yes, it's real and it's solid, you know. And like I always also told you, like, you know, being a parent is just not easy. And I know I've had my first son for selfish reasons. I wanted a baby so bad. Because like I said, by nature, I'm a nurturer and caregiver. I want to love upon somebody, you know what I'm saying? And when I told you, I think I also told you and other people who have babies, I'm like, you're not guaranteed to have a bond that you want with that child.
Right.
That's a being of its own. And just because it came out of your physical body, don't mean you're going to have that connection. It's just like every other energy around here. It's either a connection or it's not.
Right.
And I had to learn that too. I had to learn to connect to my children. You know what I'm saying? And also with the generational curses, we learn to detach from our children because they had to detach. They had to detach quick because they had to keep working. They had to keep pushing on. And that's a hard thing, you know? And that's to me, that stuff is in the DNA, that whole detaching shit, you know?
Our generational trauma is in our DNA.
Exactly. Because a lot of times, like when I first had my son, I just was like, he looked nothing like me. He was extremely fucking light. And I had to bring him back and forth to the hospital because I'm like, why this nigga's glowing? You know what I'm saying? I said, put him up under the lights. And they it was like, no, they said, is his father white? I said, no, his daddy ain't white. And so they put him up under the lights and this nigga still wasn't turning dark.
Right.
So,
like, you gotta get this nigga some heat lamp.
But he didn't look like me. And that also created the detachment.
Right.
To like, but I still love it.
Do you think that you dealt with postpartum depression before niggas was talking about postpartum? Because you said, you know, you were from the old school. A lot of people don't know how old you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? So do you think that you might have been dealing with postpartum depression because you had him, but then you were like, damn, I don't even have myself right now?
Right. It was just, I was a single mom, but I kind of lucked out. I don't think I was dealing with postpartum depression. I was dealing more like, I got pregnant by his dad that I was not going to be with. I didn't want to be with, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we was cool. We grew up together. I just got pregnant and I wanted a baby. So I was happy, but it was hard doing that shit by yourself. And then when the detachment does happen, you know what I'm saying? You got to reconnect again. But I was always a caregiver. I loved breastfeeding. I loved taking care of them, dressing them up, washing them up. Like, I love that shit. So that's the part.
I think that we can still be friends after this. I love you.
Okay, I love you too.
I love you so much. And I thank you for being a part of my social experiment in which we just talk to people from different walks of lives. And we just talk about real shit. Like, this is these years.
I was scared to do this because I'm like, damn, she got all these educated people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking some real heavy, deep shit. And with me and you, it's just how to work through friendships. This what this was about. Like, what direction can a friendship go into if it's genuine?
Where are we going?
You want to go out to eat?
Yeah.
To Boston.
Coronavirus. I love you so much, and I hope that you have a good night, baby. Thank you for joining us on The Full Step.
Bye-bye.
Bye.